Good morning, and welcome to episode 9 of the Weekly Trail Report. The Weekly Trail Report, the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis's way of connecting you to the Watershed trails, hiking and biking adventures right here in our backyard in beautiful Port Jervis. I'm your host, Tom Faggione. We come to you every Friday morning here at 7 a.m. talking about the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis events and activities on those beautiful trails in the Watershed region of Port Jervis. This show is brought to you by Richard's Army Surplus, 264 East Main Street in Port Jervis, the area's only true Army Surplus store. Stop in for all your Army Surplus needs, 264 East Main Street, Port Jervis. That is Richard's Army Surplus. And of course, Richard's Army Surplus, not only our sponsor, but also literally our show host, as we are here live inside the Army Surplus store. Joining me every Friday morning, the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis's president, Mike Ward. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Tom. You sound very serious today.
Well, you know, I'm getting all the dials all dialed up here, so I want to make sure we do it right. And, of course, our show is not complete unless we have the one and only, the ambassador himself, Chip. Good morning, Chip.
Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Chip.
All right, we are coming to you live here on Facebook Live. I see you guys on the screens there. I'm going to join you in just a second as we get things set up here. But this is episode 9, guys. How about that, episode 9?
Amazing.
We are almost at double digits. Is that incredible?
Double digits is always a good thing.
Yeah.
And we have so many listeners who are tuning in to join us here on Friday morning. We're going to answer your questions through the course of the show this morning. So if you do have any questions as the topics come up, please type them in there on Facebook, and we will answer them here live and in person. So I'm going to join you guys now. And Mike, we start off our show every week. We try to talk about 3 different segments, and the first segment is the most important segment, and that's the reason why we are here, and that is to give our listeners and our viewers an update on the conditions on the trails in the Watershed region of Port Jervis. Mike, how are the conditions out there right now?
Well, starting with Elks Brox, Chip and I have been out there blowing all the trails. A lot of leaves have come down real quick.
A lot of leaves.
But with all the rains, we do get puddling underneath the leaves. So by blowing them off, not only can you see the trail better, but it also helps dry out those wet areas.
And we've had rain. It seems like it rains all the time now.
All the time. In fact, we'll be out there today rushing through some of the longer trails so that with the heavy rains tonight, they'll be clear for our hike on Sunday.
Wow, so the conditions there are optimum for hiking. The weather right now,
Weather's
other
great.
than the rain, this is like the best time of the year
really
to go out
is.
on the trails.
Awesome
Really.
time.
It's in the morning, it's nice and crisp and cold. I mean, there was a little frost on the window of my car this morning.
There's frost on everything this
Frost
morning.
on the pumpkins, Tom.
But that's great though, because it's nice and cold and chilly, and it really gets you excited about being out there. But then when you are out there hiking and moving around, the body temperature heats you up a little bit, and it really makes it a good experience.
As Chip found out the other day, blowing the trails.
I tell you, I was laid up because it was cool in the morning, and we're halfway through the task, and I'm like, Mike, I got to take this sweatshirt off. I'm really, really heated up, sweating. And a good thing about layering is you have the ability to take that off and then adjust and adapt accordingly.
And that's one of the things that we're going to talk about here on the show this morning, is about how to be prepared to be on the trails this time of year. What particular gear you might want to think about bringing with you. Last week we talked about the difference between waterproof and water-resistant boots. So on our third segment today, we're going to talk about some of the gear you need to bring with you during the fall season on the trails. So, Chip, you were out there sweating it up this week. What was going on, buddy?
Well, I was assisting Mike blowing the trails off with the leaf blowers. Actually, it was me, right, Mike? I was using all that hot air that I have to blow those leaves off the trails, right? It was quite a task. I'll tell you, there are many leaves out there, and like Mike said, in the wet areas, the leaves, they tend to fill up that area, and what we want to do is get those leaves out of that area so that the ability is to dry that pocket of wetness there for everything, so the hikers and bikers can have a smooth transition on the trail.
And we should thank Valerie and Teresa for coming out.
Yes.
Last weekend.
Absolutely. Last weekend, Valerie and Teresa were out there blowing the leaves off the trails with
so
us.
You guys kidnapped some people to help you? Is that how it works?
Well, we publicized that we wanted to have some volunteers help us on Sunday, and we had a group show up. It was great.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the club's all about, right? Everyone coming and taking their talents and chipping in where necessary. Chipping in.
That's that, the call for volunteers for light trail maintenance. You could either grab a rake, or we had several leaf blowers available, handheld and also backpack ability. Whatever your comfort level is, we will accommodate you. We're not going to strap you to a 30-pound leaf blower and say, here you go, do this. If you want to do a rake, you can do a rake, and it's a great time. It's fun. It really, really gives you a sense of pride and ownership in the Watershed Trail system. Yeah.
And you're helping out everybody because the trails look nice and neat. More people want to come out and explore it.
Absolutely.
So, Chip, what were you doing? Were you on the rake, or were you jet packed up?
I was jet packed up. Right, Mike?
Yes, you were. And following me.
I was following Mike. Now,
Mike's hair is never, ever going to comb back together, is it?
He must have told you a little story. No?
No. What we do, it's much easier when you're on the trails to have two people. Usually I'm out there by myself. But when we have multiple people, we'll have two, one following the other one. So the first one can blow the bulk. The second one can push it off to the side. Well, Chip was being a little too friendly with me and staying very close behind the
Yeah.
blower.
You know that scene in that Marilyn Monroe movie where she stands over the grate and the dress gets blown up? Well, Mike was getting quite a breeze from me.
Saying that Mike
Not only
wore.
breeze, but leaves and
You said Mike wore a dress when he was out there on trail maintenance?
I won't say, but you'd have to come out and see it for yourself. But I'll tell you, I was a little too close, and anyone who's ever been to the Jersey Shore and got wiped out by a wave and then realized how much sand was in their shorts, Mike was full of trail dirt.
Trail dirt.
And I'm convinced the reason why he was staying so close was because he was going to be lost.
Well, that's
Correct. There was a few times the other day when I lost sight of Mr. Mike Ward because he says if I go too fast, slow me down. But I did lose sight of him, and I looked up and I said, where is he? Oh, no, I'm lost. I don't know where I am.
I've just blown the trail. It's pretty evident. And we have all the marks on the trees.
Well, Mike, that's your mistake because, Chip, he uses popcorn to mark his trail so he can get out of there.
Yeah,
it's all gone.
But also, Chip is our test case.
Oh, yeah.
Are things marked correctly? Are they blown off correctly? If you can't follow it, if Chip can't follow it,
no one can. That's true. That's true.
See, not only are you an ambassador, but you are a test subject.
Test subject.
I am indeed a test subject. Oftentimes, I feel like I'm that little speck in that petri dish.
He's also bait.
Bait for.
I am bait. Yeah. It's true.
Chip, you have many talents and many titles.
Absolutely. You name it, that's me.
But you were out there getting the trails in better order, and that's great. And it's good to hear other volunteers are pitching in when necessary. Mm-hmm. I know last weekend, for example, the Port Jervis Rec Department was going to hold a park cleanup day, and that was rained out. And that's been moved till tomorrow, I believe. So anyone that wants to help out, come downtown. To any one of the parks in Port Jervis. There'll be guys down there. And the world famous, as I understand it, the world famous Outdoor Club of Port Jervis rakes will be available for some people.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to convince Chip to do that tomorrow because I am on a secret mission tomorrow.
Ooh. I have a secret mission as well. I'm sorry, Mike. Remember
I know it.
Yeah. So.
Well, we have to talk about it.
Okay. We can coordinate something. Yeah.
We'll figure it all out.
Yeah, because I'm going to be up working on our newest trail.
Oh, that sounds like exciting stuff.
We've got some major work being done.
Speaking of major work, we got some major people that are checking in now, starting with my good buddy Colin Tunney. Hey, Colin, good that you're tuning in. The great Adam Hubbard gives us a...
Hey, good morning, Adam.
Throwing us a high five.
Yes, indeed. He's leading this major project on Saturday.
So he'll be ready for that. And, of course, my good friend Marcia, who always took care of my dog Roscoe. Good morning, Marcia. And guess who else is tuning in? You got it right. Bill Schill.
Hey, Bill Schill. He's a great guy. Welcome, Bill Schill. You're a great guy, by the way. Hadn't heard from you in a while. What's that all about, Bill? I got to hear from you.
But it's great that we're using this Facebook Live as a way to connect with the people, and they're connecting back with us. So we're going to, if you see me jump off the screen, it's because we're going to answer some questions. So if anybody has any questions about the trails, the conditions, or any of the events that we're going to talk about, please just type them in there, and we'll answer them as they come up. So we're talking about the conditions of the trails. I mean, we talked a little bit about how the weather this time of year is a great time to be out there. Let's get people out there. What's coming up in the next couple of days? Do we have anything planned and scheduled that people need to know about?
tomorrow morning is our weekly run that starts at 9 a.m. at Brewers Reservoir, the end of Reservoir Avenue. That starts at 9 a.m. At 9:30 a.m. is a meditative hike with Reverend Aaron Bauman. That starts behind St. Peter's Lutheran Church in the parking lot behind. That's at the corner of Main Street and Hudson Street. And then on Sunday, 9 a.m., we are leading a hike starting at Elks Brock's, parking lot 2, which is top of the hill. And I will be leading that hike. It'll be about 5.5 mile hike.
Now, many people know that this is also Veterans Day weekend.
Yes.
And Veterans Day is actually on Sunday. And it's a very historic Veterans Day. It is 100 years ago on this year that World War I ended. And so for maybe some of our young listeners who are getting ready to go to school and going to sit in class today, Veterans Day is, of course, always November 11th. However, this Veterans Day falls on a Sunday. So the parade locally in Port Jervis will be on Monday. But Sunday, when you're out hiking with Mike, you're going to be hiking on Veterans Day. So if you have a family member or a relative or anyone that you know who wore the uniform or maybe still wears the uniform, what a way to celebrate all the service that they have given to the country by coming out on a hike on Sunday.
And wear your boots.
There you go. You can pick up a nice pair of boots here at the Army Surplus Store. No, but it's great that you're going to be there. That's that's on Sunday morning.
Sunday morning at 9 a.m. and that's at Elks Brock's parking lot 2.
Now, you're saying that hike is about 5 to 6 miles.
About 5 or 6 miles.
Now, people are listening. Wow, 5 to 6 miles. Is that a lot? Is it not a lot? I can't run 5 miles. Can I hike 5 miles? Listeners that are tuning in, give them an idea of what a 5 or 6 mile hike is like.
It's a moderate hike. You do have hills that you'll be climbing. They're not major hills, but they are hills. It's rather strenuous. I would say that the average person could easily do it, but it will take time.
Okay. And you're going to pace based upon who's with you as well.
Yes.
Now, Chip, we always turn to you when it comes to hikes. Talk about what type of substances to bring with you.
Well,
And I mean substances by water and
sustenance
snacks. There you go,
and
sustenance.
hydration. Sure. The important things to have with you, of course, is some form of hydration. Water is the best, and we talked about it in the past. Room temperature is the best to have with you because, as Mike has past indicated, if you go with something that's refrigerated and cold, it has a tendency to constrict your muscles in your throat, which can inhibit your hiking ability out there on the trails. So if you have a room temperature water, that will be best suited for you. Hydration is important, but when you're on a hike, you're going to want to have a snack of some kind as well, which, as you know...
Who doesn't like snacks? I
Who
love
doesn't?
snacks.
I'm a specialist in the snack area, as you know, Tom. I have had anything from hard-boiled eggs to summer sausage to trail mix, granola bar, peanuts, something small to get you through your hike. You'll need a little snack. And again, hydration is key. So,
And on a hike of 5 to 6 miles, definitely water is necessary. And a snack like that, hey, listen, granola bar and a few things, banana, they don't weigh too much. Throw them in your backpack and away you go.
there you go. And away you go.
Now, Mike, some other listeners might be asking, well, what else should I bring? Do I need to bring a first aid kit, a compass? Do I need to bring a flashlight, a Leatherman tool? What do I need to put in my backpack? Mike, you're leading the hike. So what? I'm coming out for the first time for a hike. What do I need to bring?
Just bring warm clothing. It'll be chilly on Sunday morning. Wear layers so that you can take it off as we go. You will warm up really quick. As far as tools or first aid kits, it's whatever you feel comfortable with. I always carry a first aid kit with me for all the hikers. I know where I'm at, so I don't get lost. And GPSs are handy if you really want to play with them. We'll show you how to use them because they are handy to have if you're out there alone. So it's whatever your comfort level is. I wouldn't be too worried about materials other than snacks and waters. The rest of it we'll take care of.
And
Sounds great.
the boots are important as well. Yeah.
You know, we're tuning in. We're live right now on Facebook Live, and great to see all the people chiming in and checking in. And we gave a couple shout-outs. Big shout-out goes out to our good friend Mayor Decker. He is listening right now. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
And the mayor reminds us, and we were talking about how Sunday happens to be Veterans Day. Mm-hmm. And while Mike is on the hike and everyone is out enjoying the hike with Mike, the mayor invites those who maybe can't make the hike to join him at the city will be, and I'm going to try to read this here verbatim, so excuse me for just a second. The city will have a brief service in honor of the armistice signing at 10:45 a.m. Should be from 10:45 till about 11 at Orange Square Veterans Park. And that is on Sunday morning. So if you're not on the hike with Mike, come on down to Orange Square Veterans Park. At about 10:45, the mayor will be there, and they're going to have a very a nice service to honor the signing at the end of World War I. As many people know, it was on November 11th in 1918 that World War I ended. So the city of Port Jervis will have that down there. So
anybody on the hike should be able to make that.
There you go.
We're going to do Blueberry Karma, and then connect to Scouts Honor, and then back to the parking lot.
There you go. So there you go. Plenty of activity on Sunday. Our good friend Colin just chimed in. We're talking about gear and equipment to bring with us. He suggested, you know what, if you have a hiking pole or a hiking stick, it's never a bad thing to bring with you.
That's true.
Yeah.
I recommend people use a walking stick, but they can be pricey. But I'm sure here at the store, don't you have them here, Tom?
You know, the military doesn't really issue a hiking pole. I think that they tell you to toughen it up.
Yeah, because it seems like you're always sitting on one.
Well, Mike got the good one in this morning. That was a good joke. Thanks, Mike. I really appreciate that. I think I'm going to be leaving now.
The election's over. Get off your pole.
Scarecrow.
But that's good to know, though, that if any type of gear that you think that you need to bring, Mike's going to have all of that with him in a backpack. So you don't need a first aid kit. You don't need a GPS. Come on out and enjoy the hike. Any of the guided hikes, whoever's leading the hike is going to have any of the extra equipment that you're going to need. But it's important that you always pack water, a snack, and I always say, always throw an extra pair of socks in your backpack. You never know. Mom always used to say, about wearing clean underwear and having clean underwear with you. It's never a bad thing to throw in an extra pair of socks wherever you go, in a backpack, in your car. You never know. You get out of your car one day, you step in a mud puddle. Now your feet are wet.
Sure.
And wet feet are a bad thing.
And that's a good point, too, because the hikes that we do, we call this hiking the Karma hike, which was the original intent is to hike Blueberry Karma and then come back Scouts Honor. However, I'm going to be out there today. I'll be out there again late day tomorrow after we do some work on our newest trail. And then I'll check out the trail. And if I always change things up if I don't like the idea of where we're going. And there's one section on Blueberry Karma that worries me, especially after all the rain. I'm going to try to get there today to take a look at it. But if it's the lake that it normally is, we're going to avoid that route.
Now, we're talking about the trails, talking about the guided hikes, talking about Chip getting lost with a leaf blower, couldn't even find his way out of a pile of leaves. That brings up an interesting point, maybe some of the newer hikers that have come up to explore the trails. Mike, you and your crew have built an extensive network of trail posts and trail markers. Mm-hmm. Can you explain a little bit about what they look like, what's on them, and how can that... Yeah, usually you have the stick, but that's okay. Maybe you can explain...
My stick. I don't sit on it.
No, you don't. Oh, here we go. But maybe explain a little bit. I'm hiking. I come to a trailhead, and there's a post in the middle of the trail. And what does that say to me?
So on the post, there's many things on the post. Number one, almost every piece of let's say a disc or whatever is on there is actually reflective, so you can see it day or night. But at the top of the post now, we have our Watershed logo disc. In fact, Tom, you have some. Excellent.
Hey.
So he can hold this closer, but
look
we
at
have a disc that's mounted to the top of the post. And it's actually Port Jervis Watershed Park and Recreational Area.
There you go.
And that tells you that you're in the watershed. Then below it will be things like this, which is a square that has the trail name on it with the symbol and color of that trail. So when you come up to a post, there'll be also arrows underneath each of those to indicate which way to go. So in this case, Point Peter Trail would have an arrow either pointing straight ahead, to the left, to the right, back behind you. But it's giving you a direction. And the idea is when you see, as an example that Tom has here, Point Peter Trail with the blue triangle, those triangles are actually painted onto the trees, what we call blazes. Underneath each of those triangles would be a reflective dot. So if you're out there at night, you can see the blue triangle and you can see the reflective dot. You know that's the trail that you want to follow. So on our maps, you'll see a legend that indicates each trail, what the color of the blaze is, what the shape of the blaze is. And it's a way of keeping you on the trail, hopefully not getting lost. And in addition to on each of the posts, we have a number. There's a little tag that almost looks like a military ID tag, a dog tag, and that has a number in it, a 3-digit number. That number signifies that post number, which also reflects to the emergency management plan, so that in the event you are lost and you call in, they can find you. Emergency can find you by giving that number. So when you do come up to a post, look at the numbers on it, remember that number, and it's much easier for somebody to come find you. This is nature. This is wild nature. And the trails, even though I know the extent of the trails and what's on the boundaries of the trails, still people think they're really in a very large forest. And you can get lost, but in reality, no, you can't. But it's always handy to know where you are. And that number signifies to somebody else where you are. And, and speaking of that, one of the things we didn't bring up, which is when you're out hiking, it's always handy to have a whistle. The whistles do a couple of things. Number one, in the event that you've lagged behind, which we really are adamant about keeping track of everybody on the trail, but sometimes there'll be a straggler somewhere that has been missed. If for some reason you're lost, or if you're out hiking alone, blow the whistle. Somebody's going to be out there and hear you. I can tell you that almost anywhere in the watershed, you can hear that whistle because it's a ravine. It bounces everywhere. So it's really nice to have a whistle out there. And in the weird event that you find you're coming across a bear, we do have bears out there, and they are afraid of the whistles. You blow the whistle, they do run the other direction. And but they're going back to the post, remembering that serial number on the post. If you blow your whistle, if you call and you say the post number that's on it, emergency can find you easier.
It's like a highway mile marker, right, Mike? That number on that post is
no,
the
highway mile marker. We don't do that on our trails. The trails are always,
well,
for the most part,
yeah,
they're under a mile.
I was trying to make
we're not putting mile markers on them.
Right, not mile marker,
like
but
highway number.
Yeah, like you see sort of on the roads.
Well,
right?
the good thing about this is it encourages people to come on out and explore the trails and know that these posts are not they're not too far away from each other. So if you come across a post, know that, okay, just be mindful of it. And, it's great that maybe you're out there, you're starting to feel a little bit tired. Remember the last post you were at.
Yes.
And that way, when you get to the next post, remember that one as well. And God forbid anything happens. The great thing about the Trail Network is that cell phone service is very strong up there, and you'll be able to contact anybody. And God forbid you're injured, you can contact the authorities, and they can tell them, listen, I'm by this marker post, and they'll be able to pinpoint you, and they'll send crews up there very quickly. So it's good to have those post markers there, and it's good that if you're out hiking, hey, just be mindful of them. The great thing is the network of the trails kind of intersect each other and kind of serpentine around each other and into each other. So even if you are on a trail and you feel like maybe you've gone off the trail, as you keep hiking, more likely than not, you're going to come across a trailhead.
So are you saying you can't get lost?
Listen, nobody can never, ever say that you're never going to ever be lost. But, yeah, there's a very, 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 very slim chance that if you're hiking on the trails, especially up on Elk Springs Park, there's a highly irregular situation where you would be, quote-unquote, lost. Except maybe if you are, I don't know, Chip.
What was that gesture?
It's all turned around up there.
I do.
But one point I wanted to make about the blazes on the trail. So when you see the label and you see that it's going to be, say, a blue triangle. When you're on the actual trail, the marks on each trail rarely ever go outside. When you see that one blaze and you're looking, it's always going to be in view. Your next one's always going to be in view.
Well, that's good to know, and it's always good to make sure that if you are on the trails that you know where you're at. Hey, Mike, as we are here on Facebook Live, Mike, make sure your mic's on. I don't know if you turned your mic off by mistake.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah, it must have been when I was adjusting.
Now everybody can hear Mike.
Okay.
Mike, you've been unrecorded for the first 20 minutes of the show.
Oh.
But that's all right. On Facebook, they can still hear you, so that's all good. So speaking of the trails, speaking of going out there and hiking and enjoying yourselves, you mentioned some of the gear to bring with you. And the most important gear, of course, that last piece of gear is one of the simplest things. It's a whistle. You can buy a whistle here at the store. I know, Mike, you hand out whistles at any event you're out.
We do. We're down to about 10 whistles left, and we do have to see about ordering some more.
You probably gave away 10,000 whistles then.
Well, we've given away about 2,000.
Wow, that's awesome. And it's a small piece of equipment. You can buy a whistle that can mount on your keychain. You can wear it around your neck, throw it in your back pocket, throw it in a backpack. It's something to bring with you everywhere you go. And believe it or not, women, think about it this way. If you keep a whistle on your keychain, God forbid you're coming out of the mall or someplace and it's dark at night and you're a little worried, it's right there. And the piercing sound of a whistle will scare off a lot of things, including bears, but also it'll notify people at a distance further than any scream that you can make. So it's an important piece of equipment. Many women probably already know and carry a whistle. But if you're out in the woods, you can bring a whistle with you. I'll tell you a true story. A good friend of mine, he was out hunting years ago. And he didn't tell anybody where he was. He just kind of left in the morning and went out there. And he, believe it or not, he fell off his tree stand. And he snapped his ankle right in two. And he yelled and screamed and yelled and screamed. And he realized that nobody would be able to hear him. So he had to drag himself back to his car at hundreds and hundreds of yards. Dragged himself back to his car and then drove himself to the hospital. And if he had a whistle, there was someone right over the ridge. He didn't even know that, at the time, there was someone on the other side of the ridge. That whistle could have probably pierced the sky, or the sound could have reached the other guy, and maybe he would have been able to help him. So whistles, something you don't think too much about until maybe you think you should have it with you. Mm-hmm. But it's good to bring. Another thing that's important we're going to talk about is gear and clothing. We talked about it a little bit, dressing in layers this time of year. Let's talk a little bit about that, Chip, about the idea of dressing in layers. Give us an example of when you were out with the leaf blower the other day.
Yeah, I had a couple of thin layered shirts underneath a hoodie and long sleeve the wick away material type shirt that Mike has spoken about is helpful to have, but the layerability is key. So the sweatshirt came off as my body temperature got elevated, and I felt more comfortable and was able to continue the task. And when you're hiking or you're out mountain biking, the layers are going to be key for you with the change in the temperature of your body and everything. So yeah, it was a good thing to do, and I think everybody should heed that warning.
Now, if you're going to dress in layers and you're going to be out on the trails, there's nothing better. It is what now? November. Halloween's over, right? Check.
Over.
Election over. Check. That means there's only two big things left for this year. Number one is Thanksgiving, and we're going to deal with Thanksgiving by having a nice... What do you call the hike after Thanksgiving, Mike? The burn off the turkey hike?
Yeah, I haven't... I was just looking at that. In fact, people ask me why I'm always looking at my phone. It's because I'm looking at all the things that I've put up on here. I'm getting old. I can't remember all these
Now,
things.
Mike, all of the things that you're looking at there, they're on the Facebook page, right?
Oh, yeah. They're on the Facebook page, and they're also on our website. And what I was looking at was the Saturday hike and prep for Thanksgiving we have, which is on the on November 17th. We've got a guided bike ride on the 18th. Recover from Black Friday with the full moon hike.
Now, there's nothing better. We, of course, know how popular the full moon hike is. But the full moon hike this year will be after Black Friday.
That's it. No, it's on the same day.
Oh,
on
boy.
the same day. Yeah.
You talk about that.
Yeah, it's Friday, November 23rd, 7 p.m.
So your Thanksgiving is that Thursday. You're eating up that big turkey and all the stuffing and all the fixings. Friday, you're out shopping here at my store and other places here locally. And then Friday night, you're like, okay, I ate too much turkey Thursday. I just spent too much money in all the businesses in our community. What am I going to do Friday night?
Come
Full
to a
moon
full
hike.
moon hike.
Full moon
boy,
hike.
what a perfect hike that'll be.
Yes,
Mike
indeed.
will even make the moon in the shape of a turkey. you know?
Yeah.
And you'll make the clouds go disappear like you do the stuffing on Thanksgiving, right?
Oh,
And that one we're doing up in Elks Rocks Park. Which
Oh,
will
that'll be
great.
spectacular.
It'll be a good night view of the city.
And one of the things that
And
you
then
should...
Chip will have the goods set up to sell.
yeah.
Well, that's what I'm
I
tying
will.
into. You know, we're talking about dressing in layers, talking about, you know, bringing a whistle with you wherever you go. High vis, wearing something of orange in color is always a great
Very
thing.
important this time of year.
So if you're going to dress in layers and you're going to wear orange, there's nothing better than making sure that all the swag you're wearing says the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis, right, Chip?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, Chip, you're an ambassador to the club.
Well, he's top salesman of the month.
And
top
he's
salesman
also,
of the year.
How about
Thank
that?
you.
Salesman
Thank you.
of the month.
Thank
And
you.
he's in the running for Salesman of the Year.
Wow.
In the running. And, you know, you are out there selling all the swag. So let's talk a little bit about this because, you know, we always have fun on the show on Fridays talking about the events and activities. But a lot of people out there say, hey, you know what? I want to get involved and I want to, I want to show off how much I enjoy the club. So let's talk about some of the gear. First of all, I want to give another shout out as my good friend Cindy is listening. Cindy, if you can see this on Facebook now, we're pointing to the shirt back there because that's coming your way. Cindy, off air, I
Right
got to get
there.
your address because I'm going to mail that down to you. So that's your shirt from 2 weeks ago. We're using it as a display today. Don't worry, that's not a real human being body. That is a little form there. So we're sending you a brand new T-shirt. But Chip, talk about some of the gear we have available.
Sure. I'm excited about the new gear that we just got in. And let me show you a couple of these items. We have the safety orange winter hat, which has the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis logo sewn onto it, which is a great thing to have as we discussed. Safety orange is a good color while you're out there hiking or mountain biking. This is $15. And we have the beanie. Look at this. We have the beanie now with the Port Jervis, the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis logo here. And this is also $15. And if you're a beanie kind of guy or gal, this is the way to go. I'm telling you, it's going to be great. Also, we have the hoodie in navy blue. This is $25, and the input with that pricing for this is a great deal right here. $25 for a hoodie will keep you warm and layered out there on the trails.
That's the best gift for Christmas right there.
This is the best gift for
You're going to have to
Christmas.
buy Mike something different and me something different because we already have them. We have them on
Right
right now.
Right, you do have them on right now.
And this guy, when I'll have this stuff with me, and if I go grab something I'm looking at, he'll say, "You better give me a card. Give me your credit card."
Yeah, which is a great feature as well. I am out there promoting the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis through these items that we're offering to the public. They're great items to wear and display. This is $25, as I said, and it'll keep you warm and layered while you're mountain biking or hiking up in the Watershed Trail System. And listen, folks, I'm excited about this because, look, I'm sporting this brand new item just out for the fall, even though it's short sleeve. But look, it is a Outdoor Club of Port Jervis stitched polo shirt in navy blue, real classy, really
The
nice.
shirt is classy.
Well,
And this can go with it.
and look at this, the baseball cap. Look at that. This. All right. So let me get to this. This polo shirt, which is awesome, by the way, $25. Okay. The baseball cap. Look at this baseball cap. This is awesome. This will look great on anyone. Let me tell you that. This is $15. No, $20. Right? 20. Yes. This is 20. The baseball cap is 20, and the beanie and the safety orange wool knit hats are $15. Yes. So this is 20.
This is like the home shopping network.
Well, it could be, yeah.
And just so everybody knows that we are only a few dollars over the actual cost, and those few dollars are contributed directly to the club. Many of these goods have been donated to the club for us to sell. Not all that much, but there have been a few things.
And all of these are great Christmas gift ideas. The holidays are here upon us. People are thinking, what should I get for Christmas? And as a small business owner, I always encourage people to shop locally. And these items are going to be available. Any one of these items will be available here at the Army Surplus Store here at 264 East Main Street. Any one of them in any size, we'll have them here. And if we don't have it in stock, it is 1 day away. I'll get in touch with Chip. We'll have the items here. So come on down, and you can purchase them here or at any of the club events. These will be available. So if you're out on the trails and you see Chip.
See Chip. I am credit friendly, by the way. So if you find yourself wanting to purchase an item but don't have cash, I am set up to do credit for you. We want to accommodate you and get you into this great gear that we're offering to promote the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis. And I know once you purchase an item, you're going to feel the same way I do. It suits me. It looks great on me. It feels great on me. So see me. See Tom here at Richard's Army Surplus. He'll have some items for sale as well. And get an item. I'm telling you, winter's
We also
coming.
have the short sleeve, too.
We have them in short sleeve shirts as well. We have the red,
The cardinal red, military green,
and navy blue.
Correct.
Yes.
And everybody that purchases any one of these items here at the Army Surplus store, or any time they purchase an Outdoor Club of Port Jervis sweatshirt, T-shirt, hat, you'll get yourself a free map autographed by Chip.
Whoa. I better keep maps in my truck now, because I got a feeling that with these new items being coming out, we're going to be doing well. And that's a lot of autographs on maps.
Well, you always have a Sharpie at the ready.
Always.
Make sure there you go. Make sure you have two.
I have more than two, Tom. I have more than two.
And the club is going to invest all its money then in the Sharpie Corporation because of all the Sharpies you're buying?
Well,
well, you know what we should do as well is get Adam Hubbard to autograph some maps.
Absolutely, I agree.
Our master trail designer and builder.
I agree.
I ran into him yesterday, and he was out with his son. He was quite wet.
I'll tell you one thing. His son, Chip, you and I talk about, trying to get closer to being more into mountain bike riding. His son's a maniac on a mountain bike. That kid he's going places.
Yeah.
And
check out Adam's Facebook page.
I've watched some of those videos, and it's like being on a roller coaster, except you're on a mountain bike going 1,000,000 miles an hour, and it's great. So, no, Adam's a great guy. I hope that you outfit him, Chip, with an autographed
I certainly will. Absolutely.
He could put that on his wall and think about, you and all the things that you do to help.
I want a map autographed by Adam. Matter of fact, if Adam's out there listening, this is Chip, Adam. I would like a personal autographed map by you, please. Thank you.
And that was Chip.
That was Chip.
But seriously, all the products that we have here that are available, all the money will go to the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis, and all that money goes to all the great efforts that the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis has put into the trail system, as well as other endeavors. And, there's not a week that we don't come into this show where we don't talk a little bit about future plans, and that's going to be our next segment right now, as we're going to talk a little bit about the fact that the trails are doing great up on the Watershed region, and I call it the Watershed region. I don't know what the official title is. I know there's Elks Brox Park, but this is all the Reservoir Watershed region. Great things that are going on there. But, Mike, there's also great plans for the future for the Outdoor Club and we'll call it, for lack of a better phrase, downtown Port Jervis.
Oh, yes, indeed. Before we even get there, we're going to create, we're in the process right now creating a new map, which will be, hopefully, we'll have that published maybe
exciting.
in February.
I like that.
I'm going to wait till February to publish it.
Oh, okay.
But the downtown, of course, where we really are pushing hot and heavy on developing a pump track down at Riverside Park. We're doing a lot of the fundraising that we're doing of late is being directed to that actual build. I brought up the maps because that's also, the maps are expensive. We do use your donations and contributions to purchase those maps, and we distribute every map for free. And I'm hoping to get, one of the reasons I want to hold off till February on a new map is to get lined up our single track trails that we're going to have in the woods down by the river. I'd like to get those incorporated into the new map so we have a nice year next year. Have a pump track being developed between those single track trails and the railroad tracks. We have a lot of area there. We've seen the drawings of. We're looking at two proposals right now. That one I'm really hot on, and that's going to be 2 tracks, one being a pro average person track and then a beginner track, and that beginner track will be for the kids and for newbies on bikes who want to learn how to ride humps and things. One of the misunderstandings about the pump track is that it's hard to describe for people that haven't actually seen it, and we are beginning to put links up to other tracks around the country so people can see what a pump track is. But the gist of the track is to be able to get on there, and in my opinion, it's a learning curve. It's learning how to go up and down bumps, around bends, and the actual being on a pump track, you really should only have to pedal a few times to get around it. You're using your body to actually pump the bike up and down and getting over the little mounds and around the bends. And it's really a great aerobic exercise. I was able to try one in a couple weeks ago. I shouldn't even bring it up because I'm not supposed to be doing that.
Your doctor's not listening right now. I hope.
Yeah.
Mike, just for full disclosure, Mike may or may not have had serious neck surgery less than 2 months ago.
No, it was more than 2 months, thankfully.
Okay, 2 months and a day, maybe.
It was 2 months. It
so
was 2 months on Tuesday.
Listening, this was recorded years ago.
And they call me every week.
You wonder why.
But it was great. I tried it for about 20 minutes, and it was very worthwhile to do. And so we are fully pushing forward. We're trying to get a nice game plan for the whole Riverside Park area so that we can sit down with our mayor and sit down with the city council and show them really the master plan of the whole area down there to make it how we're going to make it all fit in. Because we're looking at pump track, single track, trails in the woods so that the kids, the adults, can learn how to ride in the woods before they go up to the main trails in the watershed, but also having community gardens and parking areas downtown.
One of the great things about the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis is your proven, and for lack of a better, your proven quote-unquote track record. And everything that you can look to on the trail network in the watershed region shows what efforts a nonprofit organization with good, strong leadership and strong volunteer base can accomplish. So the Outdoor Club has a record, a proven record of results in a positive way. The city of Port Jervis has something they can offer, and that is the property. That the property down at Riverside Park and all on the riverbank have great potential for the club to come down and really develop these things. And if anyone says, well, I don't know if they can do it or not, hey, come on up on any one of the 40-plus mile trails that are in the watershed region. You can see what they've done. You can see what we're going to be able to do down there. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a great combination.
Last year, when I was first talking to T.C. Crawford about these pump tracks, and I saw a video that he had forwarded to me, and I looked at it, and I thought, oh, this is great. What a way to get the locals involved. Many of the locals, and this happened when I was working with the volunteer kids during the summer, was a lot of them have never been in the woods before.
Mike, touch on that again. When you talk about locals, we're talking about people that live here in the Port Jervis Park area. Never been up to Point Peter.
Never been up in Point Peter, much less the trails north of that. There's a lot of people that have experienced it, but not in the form that we've created actual hiking, biking trails up there.
I have a corollary story. I was talking to someone locally who was literally almost born and raised here, and they're not 20 years old anymore. They might be 21 or a little bit older, let's just say. And this person, I said, when was the last time you were on Point Peter? And this person said, the last time I was on Point Peter, I drove up the front road. And that front road's been closed for quite some time. Sure. So there are people in our literally right here in our community who know Point Peter. They see it every day. Oh, the flag's up there, but maybe haven't been up there in 30, 40, 50 years.
Right. Sure.
And for you to have that practical experience where people that you were talking to, I've never been here before.
Never been here before, and so one of the ways of introducing the kids into an environment such as the watershed is let's put a pump track in. Let's put single track trails down by the river. And while things are happening up in the watershed, we haven't lost sight at all on continuing to develop the watershed trails. In fact, one of the things that Mayor Decker has really pushed for, he was awarded a grant that is now going to go to repaving the old crumbly roadway up in Elks Brox, and this is all occurring next spring. During the winter time, when this roadway is closed, this will be one of our snowshoeing cross-country trails. We're going to do some up north on the longer trails. Tom Sexton and I we're game planning how to actually get out there and groom the trails so that people can use them year-round. All we need is a good snow, and we'll make it happen. But all of the development in the watershed just continues along. We have new signage that's going to be going in the kiosks. They should arrive to me on Monday or Tuesday. We have new signs being developed for the entrances to all of Port Jervis so that people see we actually have the Port Jervis Watershed Trails. And that's the name everybody has agreed to. That's what we're going by. Port Jervis Watershed Trails. And now it's the Port Jervis Watershed Park and Recreational Areas, but we're going to really push for Port Jervis Watershed Trails. Put that signage up so people, when they come into town, they know what we're talking about. We'll have pictures, we'll have drawings down at the pump track so people can see this when they come visit the track, when they go ride the trails down there. And it's something we want to open up, as I said, to the locals, but also to the seniors. The seniors don't have any real places to go to, and we're trying to get them down by the river. They love being down by the river. We'll create the trails down there. They'll be easy enough for anybody to hike or bike. We'll try to keep the two separate down there since there'll be a lot of newbies doing this. But we'll also want to do fishing down by the river. A lot of things that we want to push forward to have done in that Riverside Park area.
I was talking to some local business people this week here in Port Jervis, and a couple of new businesses that are coming into town, and they were talking about how Port Jervis has always been known as a river city, on the Delaware River. But the interesting thing they said was, well, when you think about it, though, how does Port Jervis really utilize the river? Everyone that floats down the river rents a canoe or a raft from companies that don't exist in Port Jervis. Silver Canoe is the only river company that rents rafts and canoes that currently is located in Port Jervis. All the other companies are either located upriver or in Pennsylvania.
Sure.
The National Park Service, they patrol north of Port Jervis and south of Port Jervis on the river. So Port Jervis is connected to the river, obviously, but in terms of utilizing the river, you know what? There's been talks for many years about developing different things in Riverside Park and in West End Beach, and there's some stumbling blocks and some loopholes that you have to get through. But developing the acreage down in Riverside Park. Mike, again, how many acres?
I believe it's over 46 acres.
46 acres.
I want to say it's 46
so
acres.
These new businessmen who are in town, as I was talking to them, they're like, everyone thinks of Port Jervis as a river city. We look at it now as a recreational getaway with the hiking and biking trails that are up on the mountain, plus the beautiful community here in Port Jervis. It's a city, but it's a small city. It's more, I don't want to call it a town or a village. Technically, those are legal terms in terms of governance, but it's a small town. It's a small city. It's one of the smallest cities in Port Jervis, and with that, there comes a coziness about that. And people like to come and escape the big city of New York, want to come up here and explore and check out the nature that's around them. And with all those acres right there at the ready, and the way that the Outdoor Club has performed in the Watershed region, the Watershed Park and trail system there, it's great that it's going to extend down into Riverside Park. I'm excited about it. Chip, that pump track, you and I will be on that thing.
I will be there. I'll be on that. I'll cut the ribbon if you want, Mike, and I'll be the first guy on it.
And something else that's been in development down there for many, many years, and it's coming to fruition, I think, in the future. I can't say how long, I don't know, but the whole whitewater park area down there, which is going to be rapids created for kayaking and canoeing and rafting along the riverbank. That's a ways down the road. That is definitely there. But the more we get people involved in the Riverside Park, the more likely they're going to support that initiative down there.
Well, that is I've talked about it politically and also here in our store. That's a very ambitious plan, and there are lots of loopholes and agencies that may or may not sign off on that now and in the future, so we'll have to see. But the great thing about Riverside Park, The great thing about the Outdoor Club is the Outdoor Club has proven results in the Watershed Trail system, and they can take those proven results into Riverside Park immediately. And the dividends that could be seen in this community will be not just for tomorrow, but for the tomorrows.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of great opportunity down there in Riverside Park, more to come in the future. But the way that you can help, if you're listening, is to become part of the club. If you see any one of us anytime around, we'll get you to sign up. You can go online, check us out on Facebook. That's the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis. Sign up, follow our page. All the updates will be available on there. You can also check us out online. That's ocopj.org. That's the official website of the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis, ocopj.org. And that way you can join and there's a mailing list you can sign up for.
You can sign up for the mailing list. You can get the membership forms. You can get maps. Just about anything is on there. It's not a refined website yet. We're working on that. We hope to sell our goods on the website at some point.
And that's the whole thing. All of these things that have been done through the leadership of Mike Ward as our president of the Outdoor Club, but a whole stack of volunteers. Names of people that you've heard us talk about week in and week out. There are guys and girls that utilize their talents and volunteer their talents. They could be guys that are strong and hardy that want to do park and trail maintenance and cleanup, or other people who are more technical and maybe savvy that want to, offer their services, or maybe a big mouth like me with a couple of microphones who says, hey, listen, let's do a show every Friday morning and promote the club. So if you want to be part of our good thing going on and you don't know where you fit in, come to one of our meetings. Mike, when are the meetings?
Meetings are the last Thursday, or that would be the fourth Thursday of every month.
The fourth Thursday of every month. Come on down to a meeting. They're at the
City Hall.
At City Hall at 7 p.m.?
7 to 8:30.
There you go. Come on down to a meeting. Get to meet some of the people and say, hey, listen, I maybe these are my talents. How can I bring my talents to the club?
Oh, we're always looking for that. And in fact, I would prefer that at the meetings, instead of the very technical things that we get into regarding contracts and allocations of monies and things, that's a time that we get those people involved. And this last meeting was very intriguing to me in that we had several people come up to us and volunteer to take action in certain areas, publicity and taking care of mail lists and bringing volunteers in. That's very handy, something we really need.
So if you have any talent in the world, you want to be a part of this, come on down to a meeting, and we'll find a way to harness your talents.
In fact, this meeting, now the meeting in November has been changed to the following week because of Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving being on a Thursday, our meetings on Thursday wasn't going to work. So the following Thursday, we're scheduling our meeting. I believe that's the 29th, and that'll be at 7 p.m. And that's a key meeting as well, because that's when we're opening up nominations for any of the board positions. All positions are open for nomination. We do a one-year term. In the future, as we get bigger, we'll probably have to alternate year to year, but we'll see what happens. But right now, every single board position, of which we have 7 positions, they're all open. From president to vice president to treasurer, secretary, director of membership, director of promotion, director of activities. If you want to come out, now we do have some restrictions. You can't be a new member and run, but if you have somebody that you'd love to see in that position, come on out and nominate them.
Mike, I thought Election Day was Tuesday. Well, that's good to know. So if you want to be part of the club, come on down to a meeting. Just check it out. Learn more about what the club's all about. And what I mean, whatever talents you have, what I mean is, hey, listen, if you don't think you're the greatest mountain bike rider, who cares? If you don't think that you can hike 400 miles in one day, that's great. If you want to be part of the club, we want you to be part of the club. The whole idea of the club is that we want to get people out and enjoying what we have.
If you're a photographer, go on out. If you do watercolor, if you do oil, go on out on the trails and start creating now, because come spring, we're going to hold another event called our Art on the Mountain, of which you'll be able to submit what you think are your best works in competition with others, and if you volunteer those materials to us, we end up auctioning it and turning the money into the club to help us further our projects.
You guys started that. This year was the first Art on the Mountain. Chip, you were part of it.
I was indeed part of it.
Chip, you were not only a part of it, but you were in the top 10.
I had a couple of photos that were in the running. I did indeed, yes.
And that was quite an event.
It was a really, really good event, and I was surprised to have been selected with those photos, but also honored. I felt so honored that they were there and on display, and they went home.
And you're not officially a photographer either.
No, not at all. I'm far from it.
And he was able to submit his photos, and they were very nice.
And that's what the club is all about. That's what the trails are all about. And that's what events like that are all about. You don't have to be the expert. You don't have to have a $10,000 mountain bike. All you need is an excitement and a joy of wanting to go out and explore. Take your cell phone with you. When you're on top of Point Peter, grab a picture.
The Full Moon Hike. Great time to learn how to photograph night shots, especially this upcoming one, because it'll be in Elks Brox and you're overlooking the city, so whether there's a moon or not, you still have the city lights.
And the Full Moon Hike is great. Everyone talks about it throughout the area. And Mike, you're going to be there with us. And Mike, you're going to give some tips on this Full Moon Hike about taking those nighttime pictures, because so many of us, we have a cell phone, or if we're lucky enough and we have a bigger camera, we really don't know how to use those things. They have a million dials and a million settings on them, and most of the time everyone puts them on auto, snaps away. But you're going to take some time on that trail hike, on the Full Moon Hike, to give us some tips so we could take better nighttime pictures.
And the last time, in fact, this is where I was talking with Chip many moons ago when we were doing the Art on the Mountain, is when you go out there and taking pictures, it doesn't matter what you're taking the pictures with. It doesn't matter whether it's charcoal or acrylic or whatever drawings you're doing. Get an idea of what you want to say to people with your picture. You're not taking a picture, you're making a picture. So you want to tell a story. Look at that. And of course, a lot of times you have to think fast because something's happening that really intrigues you, and you take that picture. But when you are presenting it, think about what somebody else sees in that picture. Is it telling them a story? Or what story is it you're trying to tell? And you can be much more creative with your images when you do that.
Mike, you just made a good point. Many, many, many years ago, it used to be said that you would have your picture made in terms of a portrait. You would sit and have your picture made. And the portrait wasn't just a photograph of you, but it was you telling a story in your pose and in your demeanor. And we've kind of flipped that over 360 or 180, in fact. And now it's like taking a picture. It's like you're taking something. And what you're trying to say is making a picture is to tell the story that you see in your eye, in your mind, and putting it out there for others to see along with you. So go out there, make art, make a picture. And Art on the Mountain this year, the first ever Art on the Mountain was a great success. It is going to be overshadowed completely by Art on the Mountain 2 next year, which is going to be fantastic and spectacular. And I'm even going to break out the lens, and I'm going to take a couple pictures and see if I can be part of it as well.
And of course, we bring it up now because it's fall. There'll be snow on the ground. Beautiful shots in the fall. Beautiful shots when the snow's on the ground. But you see, as an individual, if you're going out there and you're trying to make pictures, the wintertime is a different time altogether. You see so many things you've never seen because of all the foliage during the spring and summer. Now go out there and, boy, it just opens up a whole new world.
Yeah, these trails are located in a region in which we have 4 distinct seasons. We're right in the middle of the fall season right now, and just before you know it, the end of the month, it's going to be winter. Or coming up sooner than you think. And wait, end of the month, how about December? I'm already ahead of myself. But nonetheless, we're in the middle of fall right now. The leaves are at an optimum color. People have been saying, well, we haven't really had fall, because of all the rain. Well, I know one thing. I hear a lot of people with leaf blowers and rakes out there all through our community. So if you're going to get a picture of those leaves on the trees, you better do it this weekend because they're all quickly falling.
They're all quickly falling.
But you can go to the same spot on the trail 4 times in the year. You can go to it in the middle of the summer, in the middle of fall, middle of winter, and the middle of spring. That same spot, the same area, the same place you're looking, and you'll get 4 different perspectives of the same thing.
Yes, and you'll find things that you didn't ever think you'd find before. In fact, I was just remembering, Chip, one time when we had led that real long hike, that we reached a point where we were looking at some downed roots that Chip was standing there, and this was a huge base.
Huge, yeah.
Along that same line and just to the side of it was trees down, but you saw faces in it. The natural formation of the roots and the wood made it look like a face.
Mm-hmm.
In fact,
it's true.
You can, when you're out there and you see these things, you can understand why people would say that the noises and the visions that they would have of, say, Merlin back in the woods there, you would see why they would come up with that in years ago. It was all about nature and what is actually created by nature.
And all of this is located right here in our backyard, and it's free for you to go out and explore and enjoy. Throw that cell phone in your backpack, take your camera with you. Like you said, bring your charcoal arts, your acrylic, whatever you got. Hey, if you got a Bob Ross art kit at home, take it with you.
Bob Ross,
with his happy clouds.
Because there's tons of happy trees and happy clouds out there. But seriously, get out there and take the vision and thought in your head and make the picture happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then remember that coming in the springtime, we're going to do the Art on the Mountain for 2019, and it'll be a great event. Not only a great event for you to display your art, but also a terrific fundraiser. And I'm going to lay out the challenge now. Whatever money was raised this year, we're going to double it next year in that, because I think people from near and far are going to say, oh, that sounds like a great thing.
Sure.
Let's go on up there and explore and have a lot of fun. So we're going to talk about that. Obviously, that's going to be in 2019.
Sure. But for now, since we're running short on time now, 2 challenges I want to put out there. Number 1, this year, the challenge for all the residents of Port Jervis, let's put up some decent Christmas decorations so that we can take people up into the park at night, overlook the city, and see what decorations you've created. I don't mean driving your car around the roadways and taking a look, but actually being somewhere unique, like up at Point Peter or at the cliff and overlooking the city and seeing the decoration, and not the laser points. You don't see those from a half a mile away.
I'm going to light my house, Mike, so I can be seen from space.
And now coming to you is the second challenge. Start putting on your calendar that on Saturday, December 15th.
Hold on, we're going to start all over again. This is, for the first time ever, breaking news on our Friday morning show.
That's right.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Saturday, December 15th. Okay, Saturday, December 15th. In other words, that's like Christmas time. I should be out shopping. I should be spending money. I should be in all the local businesses.
But you've already done that on Black Friday. So December 15th, you should be relaxing.
Yeah, I think December 15th. I don't know about you, Chip, but it sounds like, for me and Mike, it sounds like a great day to be relaxing.
And it's a great day to bring kids on our Christmas hike.
Ooh,
We're actually going to call it the Santa hike.
I like it.
So
Santa
there might
hike.
be a guest on that hike.
There's rumors abound that the North Pole has been given notice, and Santa has received correspondence from the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis, and he is indeed excited about the possibilities of making his appearance in the Watershed Trail System.
And we'll have gifts for the kids, and we'll have special guests.
And this is going to be Saturday, December 15th. So listeners at home, put it on your calendar. Saturday, December 15th, 2018, the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis will have their first annual Santa hike.
Yes.
and details will be made available in the next couple of weeks.
Correct.
Any ideas, Mike, of the distance on the? It's going to be a very easy hike.
The closer we get to it, we'll decide how long. But we know that there'll be a lot of kids involved, so we'll keep it down to a short hike, maybe about an hour, hour and a half, and not on hard trails. My inclination would be to do this up in Elks Brox Park, because if you have a lot of kids, and if you don't know already that the club is putting porta-johns up in Elks Brox Park. We hope to expand that next year into other areas, but it's a great place because you do have kids and they do need to use the bathroom, that we will have porta-johns up in parking lot 2. The campground will be closed at that time, but I'm thinking we might keep a porta-john up there, and we do have those cleaned every week or every 2 weeks, and they're also winterized so that they will not freeze.
So we're going to talk more about this every week now until the Santa hike. Which
Exciting, isn't it?
It is. It's December 15th.
I mean, the jolly guy himself.
How about that? Coming to Port Jervis.
He's excited. He received correspondence, I'm telling you.
And he's ready to come down and enjoy a hike. To see Santa hiking through the woods in Port Jervis, that's going to be awesome. That is going to be great. It's going to be so much fun, and it's going to be open for kids and adults as well. So we want all the kids that are interested to come on out with mom and dad or any one of your grandparents or guardians, and it's going to be a great hike. We're gonna make it spectacular. There's going to be lots of fanfare and excitement. So Saturday, December 15th.
I think there'll even be some tree decorating and hidden prizes and gifts.
Yeah. This is going to be on Saturday, December 15th. It's going to be spectacular. We're going to keep talking about it from now until that day. And local businesses, we're going to be calling you out too. And we're going to be reaching out and say, hey, listen, this is going to be spectacular. You better be a part of it, because you're not going to want to miss out being a part of the first annual Santa hike. And that's being sponsored by the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis. It is Saturday, December 15th, and it is going to be a spectacular event.
In the campground, we're hoping to have a campfire up there, a nice little fire ring campfire, and hopefully serve some hot chocolate and assorted other goodies.
This will be a great way for people to come on out, bring their kids.
Santa loves cookies.
And that's right. The jolly old man himself will be there, right, Chip?
He does indeed. He does indeed.
Well, guys, we're just about ready to cap off episode 9 of the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis's weekly trail report. Boy, we talked about the conditions of the trails. We talked about the gear to wear. We talked about all the gear that's now available. Let's get yourself a hat, a beanie. Get yourself a beautiful polo shirt, long sleeve t-shirt, hooded sweatshirt. All of these products are available here at the Army Surplus Store at 264 East Main Street in Port Jervis. Come on down. Make these great Christmas gift ideas for all your friends and family. Hey, listen, if you know someone that's related to you who's lived in Port Jervis and has moved away, come on down and buy one of these shirts, especially these hooded sweatshirts. Send them out in Texas.
Great gifts.
Yes, in California, North Carolina. Let's show that Port Jervis pride all around this country, and you can't do any better than with a beautiful Outdoor Club of Port Jervis, especially the hooded sweatshirt. I like it the most.
And as we always emphasize, that no one in the club makes any money on anything we do. No one is paid. Everything goes to the coffers of the club in developing projects, continuing to develop our trail system, our signage, and trying to reduce any burden on the city so that all can enjoy the area without any liabilities.
And there you go. And that's been the focus of the club since day one, and it's been a great success. Any success that you need to ask about the club, just come on up on any one of the trails and see all the hard work and see the dividends that have been paying off. So, guys, come on down to the shop, buy yourself one of these beautiful hooded sweatshirts. I'm going to pick up an orange hat today. That's going right in my backpack because that's going to be on my head.
He's getting one of each, isn't he?
He is. I thought he was getting one of each.
One of each.
He said, bring one of each, and I'm going to get it.
That's it.
Listen, I have the outdoor hoodie. I have 2 other hats, a couple of T-shirts. So,
hey, why
say
say no when it's so easy to say yes, Tom?
You got that right, Chip.
And you've got the credit card machine.
That's right. I have it right there. We're good to go.
Well, guys, as always, I want to thank you too, especially Mike. You always take care of us with a nice hot cup of coffee in the morning. But also,
Thanks,
I want to
Mike.
thank you for your leadership in getting this club to where it is now.
But thank all the volunteers. That's what's key. None of this would happen without all of these volunteers. And I'm making a point of in each of our kiosks to say, this is the Port Jervis Watershed Trails. The parking lot number, the trailhead number, and a thank you to all the 100% volunteers of the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis.
You got that right. The success of the club is all based upon the fact that people in our community have decided to come together and say, you know what, we're going to make a positive difference, and we're going to chip in and make it happen.
There's so many people to thank. We could just go on and on for the next 2 hours, but we're over time now.
That's
We got to go.
Yeah. Hey, quick shout
We
out.
got to go blow some trails.
Quick shout out, if I may, to Susan and her son Jackson for giving a trail report on a down tree to me directly on my phone, and then I phoned it in to Mike, and Mike said we will take care of that situation. So thank you, Susan. Thank you, Jackson.
That's great, and that's what it's all about. If you see something, Mike,
Say something.
and there you go.
And that means anything. You see anything, don't be afraid to say.
All right. Well, we're going to do this again next week. Chip, guess what?
What?
Next week, it's episode 10.
Episode 10, double digits.
Yeah. We're
Yeah.
in the double digits. So join
Yeah,
us
decade.
every Friday morning. Join us here on Facebook Live at 7 a.m. where we talk about the trail conditions and events and activities brought to you by the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis. This show is a great success thanks to all the people that listen and chime in with their comments. You know, I go out and about town and I hear people say, hey, we're checking out your show. We enjoy your show. So it's always great to hear that feedback, and it's good to know that people are listening. Now you're going to have to show off your pride by buying yourself a beautiful orange Outdoor Club of Port Jervis a woolly hat, or any one of the other garments, especially the hooded sweatshirt. Let's make the hooded sweatshirt the #1 sales item this year at Christmas, and you can get all that gear down here at Richard's Army Surplus, 264 East Main Street in Port Jervis, the official host. That's right, the host, because that's where we are, of the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis Weekly Trail Report. For my good buddy, the ambassador Chip himself, and the Outdoor Club president, the Outdoor Club of Port Jervis president, Mike Ward. This is Tom Faggione saying thanks as always for joining us here on the Weekly Trail Report, episode 9 in the books. Join us next Friday morning at 7 a.m. as we go to the double digits and bring you episode 10. All right, guys, get out on the trails and enjoy yourselves. And as always, have a great day. God bless.
Thank you, Tom.